Hey, welcome to Seeking What They Sought, a conversation on Seventh-day Adventism. Seeking What They Sought is a podcast where we have conversations about the biblical basis for beliefs and culture within the Adventist Church. It is a conversation that is first and foremost a journey towards the truth, a journey towards biblical and authentic Adventism. It is also a desire to have an honest conversation about our church, maybe about some of the things that frustrate some of us, and also some of the things that we think are really beautiful. We're so glad you're with us today, and welcome to the party.
Goodness.
Did you just say welcome to the party?
That's exactly what he said.
It was a stressful thing making an introduction to a podcast, so it's the only thing that came to mind. And this is a party.
I just feel like the party levels that we have going on are probably not very high.
That's true. I mean, ain't no party like a Holy Ghost party, and a Holy Ghost party don't stop. So that's
What's acceptable at an Adventist party?
only Uno and Sprite.
It's Sprite. Sprite goes against the
Is this a
health
pool
message.
party?
I don't know if we can have that.
A pool party?
Yeah, is this a pool party?
Better not be on Sabbath.
It's not on Sabbath. Only Saturday night.
Yeah, Lenny, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, let's do that. So I'm Anthony Lyder. I am a youth pastor in Southern California at the La Sierra University Church, and lifelong Adventist. I like to say I'm as Adventist as it gets. I'm fifth generation, and my dad's a pastor in the Adventist Church. Got two siblings. I got a cat named Leo, and married to a beautiful wife named Abby. Yeah. What about you, Sean?
Nice.
Yeah, so I teach at the school of San Gabriel Academy, which is a Seventh-day Adventist K-12 school, and I've been doing that for the past 3 years, and I teach Bible and history. So I'm not a preacher, but I grew up as a pastor's kid, and my grandfather was also a pastor. So I grew up with people when I was maybe 8 or 9 years old in my church saying, "Oh, I'm so excited when you're going to be a pastor. You're going to take over your dad's church, right?"
Classic.
And that wasn't even a joke. Like, that was actually something that people said.
But I'm going to tell you, as a pastor, and Anthony's a pastor too, like, we don't accept you into the...
You know what? I preach like 8 or 9 times a year as an elder at my church, so I'm kind of a pastor.
You kind of are.
It still doesn't count.
Did they give you the tattoo, Sean? On the bottom of the palm of your foot?
Oh,
It's the secret one.
Yeah, absolutely. It says 1844.
I don't think he knows what he's talking about.
Sean has a tattoo on his foot that says 1844.
I don't believe that for a second.
My parents were very disappointed in me.
Well done, sir. Jesse,
good
why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Jesse Churchill. I'm a pastor in Edgewood, Washington, and I've been a pastor for about a year and a half. Grew up Adventist my whole life. My parents, I think, became Adventist like 2 years before I was born, so I don't have like all the history you guys have. But I grew up Adventist, went through Adventist education, all this stuff. Have a beautiful wife named Chloe and 2 dogs. And yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at.
I should mention I'm also married to a beautiful wife named Rochelle. She is wonderful.
Nice. Not an afterthought.
Way to
No. And my cat named Milo. That's important.
Sean left the best for last, is what it was. Well, why don't we talk a little bit about the background behind the podcast, why we decided to do it, and also sort of talk a little bit about what people can expect.
Yeah, so I feel like the real, like, in 10-second story is we've had conversations about this stuff since we were, in high school. We've known each other for over a decade. So this was just kind of the extension of that. And as we were thinking about, what do we want to accomplish with this podcast, we were really talking about, well, what did the founders of Adventism want to accomplish? Mm-hmm. And I saw this really awesome proverb. It was a Japanese proverb, and it says, don't try to do what the masters did. Instead, seek what they sought. And I thought that was so powerful because it's just this way of saying that, like, I don't have to do exactly the things that they did back in the 1800s, but I want to seek the principles and the goals that they were seeking. And I think that we all kind of came to an idea that we want to be as biblically based as possible, just like the founders sought to be as biblically based as possible.
And in all of our professions, we've had conversations with other Adventists where they've asked those questions, where they wonder, the things that we do today, are they in line with what we taught as a church from the very beginning? Do we actually know what we believe and what we practice as Adventists?
Yeah.
I think we're more comfortable as a church talking about Christianity in a larger picture, what it means to be a Christian, but a lot of times we struggle to actually talk about what it means to be Adventist and actually explain that to someone that is an Adventist. I mean, I was taking master's courses over the summer as I work on my education. I was taking a philosophy course on why we have Adventist education in the first place with someone that was also an Adventist teacher. And when it was brought up about, things like Ellen White and Adventist beliefs, they actually brought up like, yeah, I don't really like those things. I don't think that that's actually very valuable. I think we just kind of use those things because we have to in the church. And you could get that sense they're a little bit burnt out from our church. But what's interesting is when we actually read Ellen White and we went through her writings firsthand, not actually listening to what others said about her, but we actually read what she said. He actually said like, oh my goodness, what she's saying is amazing. And I have a completely different perspective. I actually never read through any of Ellen White's writings. I just heard things secondhand. Wow. And it really transformed his thought to go back to the original writings of Ellen White and the original Adventist founders and see what they actually said.
Wow. That's awesome.
Good old EGW.
Good old Egg White.
As one of our favorite Adventist pastors, Matt Gamble, would say, EG to the Wizzle.
Yes.
Yes.
Always.
Exactly. The only way to refer to her.
So that's a little bit of background on why we wanted to start the podcast. Let's talk now about what people can expect from the podcast. What is it going to look like on an episode-to-episode basis?
What we have planned is to kind of go through three main areas. We're going to be looking at any specific topic in a biblical way. So we're going to see how it connects to the Bible. We're going to see where did it begin in the first place. So if we're talking about, for instance, a tradition or something that's a staple of the Adventist church, we're going to look at where did that begin? Why did that become important in our church in the first place? And Anthony is also going to kind of talk to us about what that looks like today. Like, are we still following and honoring the principles of that tradition or that belief in the way that our founders had intended for us to?
We have so many things that we're really, really stoked to share. We've done a couple Facebook polls where we asked people, what is important to you? What's on your mind? What are some of the things that you would love to hear about in a podcast? Jesse, do you want to talk a little bit about that and about some of the topics that came up that we're really, really excited to talk about?
Yeah. Some of the stuff is like, how should we as Christians or Adventists be involved politically? Let's talk about tradition, mental health, racism, complacency and comfortability in your faith, shame, and how do we deal with that? Cultural relevancy, all sorts of stuff. It's just like a lot of really good questions. And so we want to be able to answer those. I think we're going to have guests come in, especially for a lot of these things. We're just like three guys in our 20s. So, we know a lot, probably like 99% of things, but for that 1% of things, we'll bring someone in.
Almost pros.
But no, we'll have guests and different things like that because we definitely want to have a more perspective.
Yeah, and I think the hope for us is that at the end of each episode, we can gather what we've learned, gather all the research that we've brought to the table, and say, okay, so how can we answer this question, or how should we deal with this topic? Is this something helpful, or is this something not helpful? And hopefully leave the conversation in a really, really healthy way.
Well, I think every episode should definitely end with a creed. We'll create a creed based off of what we talked about.
A specific creed?
Yeah, just for every single belief system. So.
Just a warning. Just a warning. We do love the Adventist Church. We care about this podcast. We're going to have serious discussions, but there will be intermittent times when we just spew garbage and just random stuff. So just be warned.
A decade of friendship does that to you.
I like to say it's almost unproductive when we get together. Almost. It's like nearly. It's like at the 40% unproductive, but then it's like 60% productive when we get together. So
I feel like that's pushing it a little bit. I think I was more like 90% it's unproductive, and you're hearing the 10% of
just
hopefully
listen for
what is productive.
Yeah, listen for the 10%, please.
Yeah, ignore the rest.
All right, so there's actually one more person that we forgot to introduce, our faithful and Emmy Award-winning production manager, Erik Edstrom.
Like legitimately Emmy Award-winning.
He actually won an Emmy.
Yeah, he actually wanted to make sure that we knew, and you knew, that he won 5 Emmys.
5.
5.
Not just one, 5. Now it was all for the same project. Okay, so like let's just not let him get too big of a head here.
He's still poor.
Looking more than you guys.
You may hear Erik pop in from time to time, but he's usually just making us sound pretty. All right, so thank you so much for listening to us. For our next episode, we are going to be talking about tradition. We're going to be asking the question, what's the bigger risk within Adventism? Trusting tradition too much or trusting tradition too little? So we're going to be talking all about tradition. How does tradition work? Why is tradition so powerful? So look forward to conversations about haystacks and Sabbath preparation time and all those fun things. But what we're really trying to get at is tradition inherently something positive or negative? And how can we come out of the other end of that conversation learning something new in a healthy way? So we're looking forward to that. We're really, really stoked about it. Thank you so much once again for being with us today, and we'll see you next time.